It's crazy that I met you like pre the first season and then ended up on your team like the next year. That's kind of dope.
It's super dope, Lamar. I'm really happy you're here, man. I'm really
Yeah,
happy
thanks.
all of you are here. We've gotten a lot of love for our free agency. Big shout out to Brett and obviously Midnight most of all and others. But honestly, I think I've for the most part I've like already reached out to you guys and like really what I'm looking to create here is an actual relationship that takes the form of what you want. Like I don't really need it to be one way or the other. I'm pumped to be your older brother in perpetuity, maybe even your dad, depending on if you guys are younger. But I also desperately don't want you to feel the pressure of like you need to interact with me or like I'll feel bad if you don't. Right? To me, like anything I'm involved with, how do I reverse engineer the person to bring the most value? By the way, on that funny joke, that might be that Preston Michael, like Tatch, like it might be your uncle that wants to talk. Like you ask me, like, hey, would you talk to my uncle for 5 minutes about his business? Like, is not out of bounds because obviously
I
you're
got you. I
awfully.
appreciate it.
You see where I'm going? Like,
Yeah.
I'll say no if I can. 2 hours for some girl that you're chasing. That might. I'll be like, listen, I'm busy. Figure it out yourself.
So girl advice is off limits. All right, let's write that one down.
Note that one down.
Advice I'm in. Trying to close the deal for you, I'm out. So, but I think the jokes are about. I'm pretty agnostic. Like, how can I be a help? I'm available because we've interacted digitally. I'm available in any shape or form. If there's something that the team's not doing that you'd like to be done better. I always talk about like snacks, right? Like the world's so digital and virtual now, and obviously this is as well, but like in a lot of ways. But anything I could be a help of, like nothing would hurt my feelings. Like, hey, I want you to interact more with me on social. Like, what I'm trying to do here is really establish the foundation of like who I really am, like the safety and giving of the whole nature, but not romantic about how it should be. To me, it's about me figuring out how you want it to be.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
that
Makes
definitely
sense.
sounds good. I appreciate you giving us that open line of communication. I mean, that means a lot because we know that you can give us a lot of, knowledge and help through your experience and whatever
Yeah, I
topic we
mean,
need.
one of the weird things on the Vayner Sports side, what my brother runs is like some of the athletes start off signing with us because of marketing, but then like literally they're talking to me on like Saturday night to like get mentally right for the game. Like to me it's ultimately truly one big game of like counterpunching.
Yeah.
You know,
It's more than just that like business relationship is you could develop into whatever it is.
to me the business part is truly secondary.
Yeah. I mean, that's dope to see because most people at like the higher level of, companies or whatever it is, like the corporate world aren't like that. It's more like suit and tie.
Transactional.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
transactional, more suit and
You
tie,
never
more
talk to
businessy.
them. You never
Yeah.
see them, except for like once a year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really, really want to be, available. I'm really optimistic based on, your collective play last year. Obviously, chemistry is a real thing. So like,
Yeah.
I remember how bad that Eagles team was that I thought was going to go 16-0 and win a Super Bowl when they brought all the superstars together. So, I also think like a great atmosphere and like lack of politics and liking each other really, 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 really matters. And
Yeah.
I think that stems from the
Definitely
top,
does.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been great teams in COD or
Yep.
even other sports that have like so much talent, but if they're not vibing with each other and you don't feel that type of like connection with your teammates, then it's not gonna progress into something like amazing.
Lose one tournament, it's literally over.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Yeah.
great teams that lose one tournament and their team just gets canceled for the rest of the season.
Well,
Yep.
you're dealing with like even younger than like, you're dealing with a really interesting set of players, right? First of all, because of the nature of like how this is all evolving, a lot of people have a lot of it. It's really like, it's like real with sports, the athlete with sports that we all like, that I definitely grew up with, the coach and the team and like the league controlled so like suppressed like the way the media landscape was to press to your point like everybody feels very comfortable, like the comfort of somebody in this world jumping on Twitter and just saying like you to their own teammate is higher by nature. So I think,
Yeah.
I think I think that makes sense. And I think, you know, that's what this time together is about. It's about, you know, creating something from the top that allows for kindness and empathy. It's important. Like, for example, in a meeting like this is what leads like Lamar to feel actually comfortable to go to press and be like, yo, like the last couple of weeks, like I feel like you're struggling with this thing instead of not. It's really just, and Preston not being upset about, like, it's culture.
Yeah.
No,
It's,
yeah.
it's candor and accountability, and which is something I've struggled with in my career, to be honest, because I don't like negativity and have struggled with that and continue and trying to get better and better and better, because it is the other element to just being nice. Because if you're holding it in, if somebody's f***ing it up and everybody kind of knows it, but it's in, it's just, it
Starts
becomes,
building that resentment.
It's resentment.
Yeah, no, definitely. And whenever there's not that underlying tension between people or beef or any of that other like out of game stuff, it's easier to work.
And by the way,
yeah.
I would love to be a resource for all of you on that. You know, what Maha and Tyler can tell you here that are both on the line, like I spent a lot of time in HR at Vayner. It's what I believe in. So like, if you are struggling with one another, somebody struggling with somebody, that would be a perfect example of like reaching out and be like, you got 20 minutes to talk through something. That's what I want to be as an owner.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds great. Definitely super helpful, because those aspects are things that a lot of people, when they make teams, they don't pay attention to. They just think like, they don't pay attention to the chemistry. They don't pay attention to the tension that could be there. Any other issue.
To me, it's literally the only thing.
Exactly. It's like the big. That's.
I mean, you got to be able to play. Like, of course, I'm the best at chemistry, but I should definitely not be sitting in your seats.
Yeah, exactly.
You would smoke me out quick.
Yeah. Like, everyone has their part. Everyone has their role.
Everyone has their
team, and then,
We just announced with Gary Vee as our substitute.
Yeah.
Anything I can answer for anybody?
I don't really have any questions, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any questions. I just want to say, like, you go ahead, Mike. You got a question?
No. I was basically saying the same thing as Lamar. Like, you kind of covered it. Like, the thing with back to like criticism, everybody is like, every person is different taking criticism. So understanding how that person takes criticism and how to approach it is like super important, especially when it comes to like building a team. So,
and you know what's cool, Mike? Like. It's also defining words. Like, it's really not, like, honestly, doing the homework on all of you. Like, I don't think anybody here is going to come with like straight heat criticism.
Yeah.
It's just that you have an opinion, which, oh, by the way, might not be right. And I think once you come from a place of humility, right, of like, you know, like with your opinion, you come with like an opinion or an observation. Like, to me, like, words matter. Like, yo, I got a hypothesis. I think when you're doing like just that versus, bro, you're up in seconds. Like it's just different.
It's a big difference. Yep.
It is a big difference.
Yeah.
I think you'll need time to really, like, I don't know what the relationship graph is amongst you, but like, you know, yo, you're up is so much easier for me when someone's family and it's 8 years in.
Yeah.
When it's 8 days in. It's like, hey, I got a theory that this might, you know, and I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't want to step on anyone's toes too early, and then that carries on. Like,
but
exactly.
But to me, that's why we're having this meeting. But I'd rather, the sooner you can, you know, like, I play it two ways. One, I do love to give a lot of room so I can see what somebody's about, because I think that's important. So I can help, so I can figure out, because I'm sitting at that level. But when it's like a contemporary, like when I'm on stage or when it's somebody who's my contemporary, I go to it sooner because I don't feel the responsibility of like making it better as much. It's more of a like giving that candor. And so, you know, it's less about stepping on toes, and it's more about right now with all of us creating a culture, a cloud of like actual communication where like, let's like all like kumbaya and like on some real shit. My intent is good. I don't think I'm better than you. I don't like, this is just like, if we win the championship, that's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
100%. 100%. That mentality is a mentality we definitely need to have.
Actually, this would be good for me to listen. What stood out for you last year, for some of you, of like what worked and what didn't work? Without getting, I'm not looking for the gossip. I'm just looking about learnings from your perspective.
You're talking about the league as a whole, or like
just with our team
actually,
experience?
You know what's funny? I was thinking team experience, but you know what's cool? But honestly, attached, like honestly, all of it.
Yeah, I think, of course, with the unfortunate circumstances that the league got put in, they did what they could to make the year go as smoothly as possible. So hopefully we're not in these circumstances for too much longer, and we can get back to like the real events and all the real stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Oh, with overall the league did well, but then with the team stuff, at least speaking on our past team, there was definitely some like chemistry issues to where some people just didn't get along too well. Someone might have an off day, and it might happen a little too often. So it's hard to progress and like make progress as a team and get better if you have to deal with someone in a shitty mood every day, or this person not listening, or so it was kind of tough. But I'm really excited because of I've teamed with Preston before. I know how he is inside and outside of game. Mike, I've known Mike for a while, and then I've just heard because everyone knows how each other acts from like their teammates and hearing about what they say about them, and just knowing how they work and how they are as people. I think it's just like a really good fit, and they're gonna be really easy to work with. And then of course I've known team with Lamar for a couple seasons, and I know how he is. He's all about his business. So I really like the makeup we have of this team with in-game like skills, talent, smarts, and then also outside of game as people too.
I love that.
Yeah. For our team, for me and Mike, I would say me and Mike were probably like the more talkative players on the team. And so I think we kind of went the approach of like being nicer and kind of just like be like, hey, like instead of doing this, do that. But then at the end of the year, we actually got told they actually wanted us to be harder on our other teammates. So for me, it was weird because I've had teammates that are like super hard on me, and that's personally something like I didn't really enjoy. Like the way they would speak to me, I was just like, bro, like I already know what I messed up, and you're still yelling at me right now.
Well, bro, this is why people don't understand how to manage. Like to your point, like you know that part versus what leadership is, which is coming to you and be like, bro, I'm not going to talk to you about like the fact that this part of the game you're struggling with. Like I'm asking you, is there anything I can do for you? You want to stay up later and practice? You want to like headbutt each other before we like go into the match? Like that's the whole thing. People don't understand what leadership is. Most people think being harder is about like yelling at them, like yo, get your shit together, you're fucking up. That's never gonna motivate anybody.
Yeah. See, my mindset for it too was like, now that we have like coaches and other staff a part of the team, was like,
shouldn't they be doing it?
Yeah, like that. Like if they need to be yelled at.
By the way, on that note, I think given the makeup, back to Attach's point, like that's why I'm so optimistic for this season with this crew, because it almost feels like even in this talk, we're already so far along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. I think there's a reason there are coaches, but I genuinely believe the greatest teams of all time across the board, and I'm positive of this, is that our coach has the easiest job in the world because you're all talking either parallel or up to somebody, never down.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's one thing about us is we mesh really well. In game and out of game, I can already see it, and I think we all have a good understanding of our end goal. So when it comes to like back on the criticism, things like that, being hard on each other, it's all in love. So
and practicing the communication of love, like I have a lot of feedback for my teams all the time. It's like genuinely delivering it with honey. Like person's upset to begin with.
Yeah, you have to approach like carefully.
How do I help? Like, honestly, that's the mindset. All you guys want to do is win.
100%.
So it's just like, yo, how can I help you? You know, the time you need to go tough is when like somebody's like not putting in work.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah, so that's like when it's like the effort's not there and then it's like that's the tough love part.
And then you're just losing full.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, but then even that with compassion, like, you know, at these ages, sometimes a person falls in love for the first time. At these ages, sometimes somebody's really hurt for the first time. Like people got parents, you know, some kids are going to join these teams that come into money for the first time, and they got parents who are like treating that situation up. So like compassion and empathy, you know?
Yeah. You never know,
1,000%.
like you won't know what's going on outside that person's life all the time. They might not tell you, so you don't know like what's putting them on edge.
They may grab like a bullshit girlfriend because their parents didn't give them love, and so they're using this moment to feel it, even though you're like, holy shit, she's a train wreck.
Yeah,
He's filling a void for dude because the parent, but I'm going there with you guys because that leads
to. It's true.
I hear you. That is 1,000% real.
We've seen it all too much in the COD scene, to be honest. That's definitely happened a lot. Like that exact thing you said has happened a lot.
Bro, think about the cliche gamer, like professional gamer. They like a lot of them, not all of them, but a high percentage lived that 6 to 15-year-old life of being a gamer in their crew with their guys in their like craft. Now they get some heat from this league, and they got, all of a sudden these like girls running around with like 1 million followers on Instagram and looking like the thing that the kid dreamed of his whole life, and like it changes. I look at some of the kids in the league, the girlfriends, I laugh my ass off. I'm like, this is already further. I told everybody this was going to happen. This is way further along. None of these guys should be with these girls. So but that's real. That's real. So I think that, I think compassion for each other really matters.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. That's like you said, we said earlier, like that moment that you talked upon, I'm glad you talked about it, because that is something that separates your team from being great and 100%. Like not being great.
And what I'm pumped about is we've already had a better productive talk about our team right here than half the teams in the league are going to have at all. Comma, if you really believe me that I'm here for you as a bridge to a difficult conversation, if you can't get all the way there, now we're really rolling. Because now we've had this talk. You're feeling those vibes. Now, if God, hopefully we don't have to deal with it, but if we have to deal with it, if you are anxious to be that person to give it or bring that leadership, the fact that, you can tap into me, now I'm thinking like, okay, I'm eliminating step by step here, anxieties, concerns, so we can flow.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You're right. I mean, everything we've talked about.
Every minute you're thinking about that the other guy's a dick is a minute you're not putting into getting it right.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to buy into someone's idea or thought or whatever it is if they're being a dick to you.
100%. You're just it's just wasted energy. You only have so much energy. Yeah. If you're like not excited to go to practice because you're beefing with somebody and you're like jockeying for a different seat, like that's just all energy versus like thinking through what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah.
The team culture is super important.
All right, guys, really appreciate you meeting with Gary today. We're going to transition over to the live podcast with Gary. So Gary, Brett, and I will hop in here. But guys, any kind of parting thoughts, words for Gary?
I just want to say,
thanks for meeting us. Thanks for meeting us. I'm excited to embark on the journey.
Yeah, it already feels good. Like I feel like we've already had so many talks just now with you, but then everyone else in the organization and players and staff and now you to make progress as a team. So every conversation we have just brings us closer together, makes us more comfortable with each other and everyone. So I think it's just already progressing really fast, and we haven't even gotten started yet. But it's already starting, but like we haven't even gotten started yet.
I totally understand. This is actually the most important part, and we haven't even started yet. I'm totally on board. All right, fellas, we'll talk soon.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right.